For literally thousands of years, humans have been drawn to the intense, almost sacred heat of saunas. It's an ancient ritual. But beyond that incredible feeling of relaxation, what is the heat actually doing for our health in the long run? Well, today, we're putting that very question under the scientific microscope. So is that amazing, deep warmth you feel doing more for us than just making us feel good in the moment? The science here is honestly fascinating, and in some ways, it's actually pretty surprising. So let's dig in and see what the evidence really says. Okay, first things first, we need to be really clear about what we're talking about. I mean, the word sauna gets thrown around a lot, but not all hot rooms are created equal. And believe me, those differences are really, really important for understanding the research. So here's the breakdown. You've got your traditional Finnish sauna. We're talking super hot, up to 100 degrees Celsius, but with really low humidity. Then you have a steam room, which is actually cooler but has almost 100% humidity. And then there's the infrared sauna, which uses light to heat your body directly from the inside out. Now, here's the crucial takeaway. Almost all of the big long-term health studies we're about to look at, they focus on that traditional, high-heat, low-humidity Finnish style. But no matter which type you're in, the basic response from your body is pretty much the same. That heat acts as a physical stressor. Your heart rate climbs, your blood vessels open up to get more blood to your skin, and you start sweating, a lot, to cool down. It's kind of like you're giving your heart a workout without even moving, a passive cardio session, if you will. So what happens if your body gets this little mini workout over and over again for years? What does that actually do for your long-term health? This is where the data, especially from Finland, gets incredibly compelling. There's one headline finding that is, and I'm not exaggerating, truly stunning. This quote right here is a bombshell. It comes from a massive, long-term study that followed thousands of middle-aged Finnish men for decades, and their conclusion was just unmistakable. The more often these guys used the sauna, the lower their risk was of dying from heart problems, or, from any cause at all. And we're not talking about a small effect here. Yeah, you heard that right. Up to 60%. For the men who used a Finnish sauna 4 to 7 times a week, their risk of sudden cardiac death was up to 60% lower than the guys who only went once a week. It's what scientists call a dose-dependent relationship. More sessions meant more protection. It's just a brilliant illustration of the power of consistency. And it didn't stop there. The same studies found that frequent sauna use was also linked to a significantly lower risk of stroke, a lower risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's, and even a lower risk of getting diagnosed with high blood pressure. Now, it's important to remember this is all observational. It's a correlation, not proven causation. But man, that pattern is powerful and very hard to ignore. Okay, so the case seems pretty much closed, right? Regular sauna use leads to incredible health benefits. End of story. Well, not so fast. Science is rarely that simple. When researchers tried to nail down the immediate benefits from a single session, they stumbled onto a real scientific puzzle. I mean, it's a totally logical question, right? If long-term use is so fantastic for our blood vessels, shouldn't we be able to measure some kind of improvement right after we get out of the heat? Well, a clinical trial in 2019 decided to find out. And here's the twist. The study looked at something called flow-mediated dilation, which is basically a fancy way of testing how stretchy and responsive your arteries are. And you know what they found? A single sauna session did nothing. No immediate improvement. It didn't seem to make your arteries more flexible right away. This seemed to fly in the face of all that long-term data. So what was going on? Well, another study, this one from 2023 looking at our immune system, gave us a massive clue. It found that the real measurable improvements didn't come from just one session. They came only after a series of them. And that's the key. The benefit isn't some one-time magic bullet. It's cumulative. It builds up session after session with consistent practice. All right, so if the real magic is in the repetition, how exactly does this work? I mean, what's happening down at the biological, the cellular level that's making our bodies stronger and more resilient over time? A huge part of the answer lies with these amazing little things called heat shock proteins, or HSPs. When your body gets hit with a stressor, like intense heat, your cells crank out these proteins to protect themselves from damage. Think of them like your body's internal repair crew, or maybe a personal SWAT team for your cells. By firing up this system over and over, you're basically training your cells to get better and better at handling all kinds of stress. Now, let's look at something more immediate, like pain relief. This slide perfectly shows the chain reaction. First, the heat gets deep into your muscle tissue. That triggers more nitric oxide, which is a molecule that basically tells your blood vessels to chill out and widen. That process, vasodilation, boosts blood flow and gets more oxygen to those tight muscles. And to top it all off, your body releases endorphins, its own natural painkillers. So when you put it all together, you get this powerful biological cocktail of effects. You've got better blood flow from vasodilation, you've got cellular armor from heat shock proteins, you have the vessel-relaxing power of nitric oxide, and that natural pain relief from endorphins. These are the engines driving the benefits, and they just get stronger every time you go. Now, as compelling as all this evidence is, we absolutely have to talk about safety, because the same things that make saunas so beneficial for most people can actually be risky for others. It is crucial to know how to do this safely. This is maybe the most important slide for some of you. This is the list of absolute no-goes. If you have a serious unstable heart condition like any of these, a sauna can be dangerous. And the reason is simple. The heat makes your blood vessels widen, which can cause a sudden, really dangerous drop in blood pressure. So the number one rule, always, is to talk to your doctor first if you have any pre-existing health condition. For everyone else, the rules are pretty straightforward. 1. Hydrate. Drink tons of water before, during, and after. 2. Avoid alcohol completely. Mixing the two is just not a good idea. 3. Start slow. We're talking just 5 to 10 minutes to see how you feel. 4. Cool down gradually. Don't go from extreme heat to an ice bath right away. And of course, pregnant women should generally avoid saunas, especially in the first trimester. And this kind of brings us to our final big idea. The science of saunas seems to point to something much bigger. That old saying, "what doesn't kill us makes us stronger," might actually be true. This idea of using small, manageable doses of stress to build up our resilience is called hormesis. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Could this ancient ritual of intentionally stressing our bodies with heat be one of the simplest, most powerful ways to build a more robust, healthier, and maybe even longer-lasting version of ourselves? The evidence certainly suggests it's a question worth sweating over.